Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel. My name is Maureen O'Connor from Quilters Heaven in Northbrook, Illinois, and I am the Opinionated Quilter. Today's episode, number 173, is no pressing directions, no problems. But first, I would like to share this quilt behind me that a customer made. This is my Better Than Crumbs quilt. And while I made it as a scrap quilt over here, you've seen this before, this customer did a block of the month and had so much fabric left over that she took all the scraps from one project and put it into this quilt. So it doesn't always have to be random scraps. I really love how it turned out. But one thing to note, she says she has enough scraps left over to make a whole nother quilt. So I have found over the years that many times in kits, you're sold way more fabric than you need. I think they don't want you to run out of fabric if you make a mistake, but many times it's much more than you need. So she still has more scraps. But I just wanted to share it with you because I just thought it turned out so lovely. And it doesn't have to be a scrap quilt. Also, I would like to thank Kathy from Minnesota for stopping by the shop and introducing herself. Anyone who's traveling in the Chicagoland area, if you can stop by the shop and say hi, I would love to meet you. Now, let's get to the episode. A viewer wrote to me and linked me to a video for this block here, and said that she liked the block, but could see problems with the pressing directions when you put multiple blocks together. And I agreed. I liked the block too. And there definitely were no pressing directions given. It was one of those videos where they just print measurements on the screen and there's music playing and you just watch the person's hands sew. I'm guessing they're done by people who don't speak English, which is fine. You don't get any additional commentary other than sizes of the blocks. So what happens when you don't have pressing directions? Oh, let me back up 1 second. When I showed this block to Maria, she said, "Oh, I know that pattern." And she found a link. It's from June of 2014, and the pattern that she found is called, I have to check my paper here, Shelburne Tartan, and it's the link is to patchworkandplay.blogspot.com, and in that one the author used red for the background. And also there's a few other differences, but we never got a hold of the pattern, so I couldn't even see if there were pressing directions in that one. But again, the title of the episode is No Pressing Directions, No Problem. Now, all you people who press your seams open, this doesn't apply to you. For those who want to nest the seams, this is how you would do it. The first thing you want to do is draw the block out. And in the next board, I'm going to show you the actual paper that I drew the block out on. And then you want to make 4 blocks, because if you just make 2 and you can join these 2 together, it doesn't mean you've got your seams pressed right this way to join the next one. So this block consisted of 4 units that look like this, and then they go around a center square with a partial seam. So I drew out this once and then copied it, and I'm going to change out the boards and show you the actual papers and then show you the blocks that I pieced together. This is my little piece of paper I drew the first time, and the directions were given on the video of how big to cut the pieces. So if she told me to cut this 2.5 inches, I know this is a 2-inch square. I'm drawing it without the seam allowance. You have the 2-inch square of the background fabric, You have 1x2 finished for a color, and then a color for a 1 inch finished square, background for a 1 inch finished square, and a 1x4 color piece. Now you could do these all random colors. I did mine with consistency in color, and I think probably more random actually would look better, but I had a strip of fabric and it's never going to be made into anything, so I just wanted to use what I had without thinking too hard. So once I have one unit made, I need 4 to make a block. So I just put it in the copier, made 4 copies, cut them out, and laid them out the way that the block is put together. Next, I decide what color is going to go where. So I first take a piece of paper and write color 1 is one thing, color 2 is another, color 3, color 4. So I went ahead and did that, and when you look at the block, if you want to see an over-under, I did color 1 here, and then it continues up here. So you had 1 short and 1 long of each color, 1 short and 1 long of, this is color 3, this is color 4, long, short, and color 2, short, long. So it doesn't make any difference how these are pressed, these 2 1-inch squares together, because they don't ever have to meet anything else. Where you need to make sure that your pressing works is on the edges, because this edge of color 3 here is going to meet this edge of color 3 over here. The same with 2s, and here's the color 1s up here. So the next thing I do is I put arrows of which way I think I need to press them. And usually the first time I do it, I don't get all of them correct. I do the best I can. So I have arrows pointing down here and up here. So these would be down here and up here, so that the pressed up meets the pressed down, and they'll nest. And the same here and here. I did one thing differently between the sides and the top and bottom, and I didn't do it on purpose. And it works out fine, but you may choose to be consistent where I was not consistent. If I did it again, I would redo it so that it was consistent, because then it's easier to sew and press. You're doing the same thing over and over again. It just makes it less likely that you'll make a mistake. So, and I'll flip one of the blocks over so you can see it when we get down there. But on these, like I said, I had these up and these down. Up here, I did away from the color here, and then I did towards the color here. Instead of going down and either going right or left, I switched which way. I hope this isn't too confusing. Once I flip over one of these blocks, you'll be able to see what I'm talking about. But again, I would not do that on purpose. That was more of an accident as I was figuring out the pressing directions. And my pressing directions do work. Let's move down to the actual block. So here are 4 blocks. I decided not to use a color here. I used black. And as I look at this block and I look at the Shelburne tartan that I mentioned before that had different colors here, I kind of liked the different color version better. And again, this is a reason to make sample blocks, because you'd sure hate to do a whole big quilt and then say, gee, I really wish I would have put color in there instead of black. But for my sample for pressing directions, the black does work. The other thing about this is, and this has nothing to do with pressing directions, is there's an awful lot of white here, awful lot of black background. One thing that I would think maybe might be fun to do is to do one color background here and one color background here, and then you'd get a little more interest in here. But that just is color design, pattern design. Now, I did get these all to meet right so that when I sew them together, they will nest. And I'm going to lay these down on the table so that you can see better than you can see from up here. Give me 1 second. Now I'm going to test my pressing directions. I've made the blocks. I've gone with my arrows that I think are right. And I would then take my 2 pieces and put them together and say, do these seams nest? And yes, these are up, these are down, they meet. Down here, these are up, these are down, they meet. So that says I did pressing directions right there. Now you want to test top and bottom. And you'll notice a difference here now. And this is what I was mentioning before. These both go in towards the color. These go away from the color. So they still nest. Same over here. They still nest away towards, just different than the up-down of the other one. And again, if I sound like a broken record, I apologize. I would not do 2 different ways on one block. I would pick one and stick with it. So, oh, we got that upside down now. Oh, that's because it came from here. So my 4 blocks will fit together. I do want to say one last thing before we finish pressing directions is I would not put these in a project of mine. This quality of work is not as good as I would like. They're kind of a little wavy here. Since this was just a demonstration and not going to be into a project, it's okay for me, but it would not go into a project. This would go somewhere else into a scrap heap of some sort, because I don't think this work is good enough to make it into a project. Let's get to the winner of the giveaway. The winner of the pineapple fat quarters is Roxanne Prue 435. That's ROXANNEPRUE 435. Please send me your mailing address to quiltersheaveninc@gmail.com, and I will get those fat quarters out to you. This week's giveaway is some more batiks. I think I did a while ago, the last of the batiks. Well, there were more. And there's no rhyme or reason to colors or anything in here. It's just a pile of batiks of different colors. There's a pretty purple in there. This is a big piece, this dark blue, be a good background or something. Various colors in here. If you're a batik lover and want to enter to win, you all know what to do. You want to like my video, you want to comment on my video, and you want to subscribe to my channel. And in the comment, write bundle of batiks, and you will be entered to win. I want to thank you all so much for watching, and please keep some ideas coming for me for ideas for episodes. I appreciate all of you, and until next time, happy sewing.